Welcome to Connecting with Corinne, the podcast where I help you find your community one story and connection at a time. I'm your host, Corinne, and each week I explore inspiring conversations that connect us to the world around us, spark new ideas, and help build stronger, more meaningful connections. Whether it's through personal stories, thought-provoking discussions, or shared experiences, we're here to bring diverse perspectives to the table. So let's dive in and start. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Connecting with Corinne. I'm Corinne, your host today, and I am with my friend Anthony Battistone. How are you today, Anthony?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. Yeah.
That's great. And I have known Anthony for quite a few years, actually. I met him through rugby. I think most people that I'm meeting right now is through rugby. I joined the Bow Valley Rugby Club in 2016, and you were already a player at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We've just stayed in that rugby circle of playing touch with each other. And then sometimes you don't play touch with us and you play soccer instead.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to
And then we give you a
diversify.
hard time about it. You've been part of our club for quite a few years, and you've also been a board member as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I was blessed to be working with you as our VP. I was VP Women's, you were VP Men's, and we thought it was
Yeah.
going to be the best year ever.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Not quite the best year
Not
ever.
the best year ever, but it wasn't a bad year.
It was not a bad year. We made it awesome.
Above average year.
And then now you are our president of the club. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not why we're really here. You also do some other amazing things. You are now the clinical manager
Yes.
of Elevated Abilities. I think you just posted that on Instagram or LinkedIn just recently. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Depending on what realm you know me in, I go by Anthony or Tony. I'm open to either. So I know rugby realm is Tony, so I'm okay with if that's your go-to. I've been working with Elevated Abilities since our inception in 2021. Me and a couple colleagues worked at another agency. It unfortunately shut down, so we started another one with a couple owners that we have here. And we built this agency basically from the ground up, and we support kids with disabilities, all kinds of disabilities, autism, ADHD, Fragile X, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. And we support these families in their own homes, trying to give them clinical support. So by trade, I'm what's called a board certified behavior analyst. So I specialize in applied behavior analysts, and I have colleagues here. We have speech pathologists, occupational therapists, psychologists, some great frontline staff that go do a lot of the heavy lifting, working with the kids on a week-to-week basis. We started out with 4 staff, and now we're breaking 50, which is pretty great. We serve about 150 kiddos now, expanding and expanding. And then with the new role of clinical manager, there's me and another one here. We just kind of oversee the whole operation. We got big lofty goals. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's kind of that in a nutshell. And then, yeah, well versed in the Cochrane rugby scene as well.
So what made you want to work with children with disabilities?
When I was in high school, I was just really good with kids, really good, like even as a high school, really good with nephews, nieces, that kind of stuff. And I was really into being a teacher. Going to high school, like I kind of didn't know who I was. I felt like, I don't know, I could be a teacher, helping kids, do that kind of stuff. So I went off. That was my goal. It's never a direct pathway. I ended up getting my master's in education in the US. So I got to experience teaching in a US system and a Canadian system, which was kind of cool. And then when I moved out with my now wife, Brettley, she was in Saskatoon doing her veterinary medicine. I got into the disability field. I started working with an agency called Autism Services, part-time work while I was waiting for my teaching license to come in. And I just fell in love with it. I loved working with these kiddos. They were just so interesting, how their mind worked, how they communicated their needs if they weren't able to speak. It was just a good time. So I did a couple of recreational programs. I did recreational swimming. They had social clubs. We'd go bowling. We'd go arcades, take them out to restaurants. And then I did a summer camp with them. And then they had a job opening being a frontline staff. So I did that for a bit. And then having a master's degree, they were open to me moving up to a more consultant role. And then that was a lot of fun. And then we moved out to Alberta. My wife got a job out here as a equine veterinarian, so horse vet. So we decided to move out, found the place we're in Cochrane, which is just down the road from you.
Amazing.
Yeah, I got into the teaching scene again there. I taught for about 4 years in special education. We call it learning support teacher, depending on the school division. And it just wasn't the same working in the school system. There's lots of curriculum you have to focus on. There's lots of things you have to, it was just a lot of things. And I was really interested in the behavioral approach. I couldn't find that passion of just modifying curriculum for kids and doing that, where I want to work with the complex kids. We had some in some of the schools that I worked at, and they were my favorite kids to work with. So when my contracts were up with schools, I ended up finding a behavior consultant job. And yeah, this is what I wanted to do. And then got board certified and now makes it official. It's just so much fun. I like to take the kids that nobody likes to take because they're challenging. So I have some good relationships with the Children's Hospital here and other complex clinics and taking on those more aggressive kids. Because I mean, being a rugby player, I'm a little bit larger in stature as well. So the intimidation factor isn't there. But then I can relate with them, right? Or not necessarily relate, but I'm not scared of them. So I'm happy to work with them and they need support. And I don't have that fear, which is a bonus.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I know I worked with kids with autism in Calgary, so it was definitely a challenging
Yeah,
aspect. So
yeah.
were the kids that you worked with in Saskatchewan, did they have to be institutionalized or were they
No, no,
did they live
no.
at home? So
They're all home based and they were strictly autism. The whole agency was autism services. So they were strictly autism. And it was all in the Saskatoon health region. So we were all going out to like rural communities and stuff like that too. And I did not work with any of them that have been I don't know if they actually institutionalize kids anymore.
I don't
Only
want to say
going down.
institutionalized,
They have
had
group
like group
homes.
homes. Like it was the group
Yeah.
homes is really
Yep.
what.
Yeah. I have those kiddos. There, it's just not safe for them to be at home. They
No.
need it around the hour. So I have a few of those
Yeah.
currently. Yeah.
Okay. I know you said you worked with children with Fragile X and with autism. So do you work with some of those societies as well, like the Society for Treatment of Autism or
No, they're actually like competing
groups?
agencies. Not that we're like competing because there are plenty of kids to go around, I would say. I don't know if that's a nice way of saying it, but the demand definitely outweighs the supply. We know of them. There are lots of great agencies out there, and we're all doing similar things. And I mean, with their group home program, like I've referred kids there before, we're not necessarily in partnership with any of them because we do the same thing.
Mhm. So what are some of the programs that you offer?
Yeah, so the bulk of our work is clinical services. So we'll have a speech pathologist with an aide go into a home, same with all the other disciplines. We also offer, so a couple of years ago, I created a curriculum for a social skills program, and now that's evolved into 4 different programs that kind of go in sequential order. We have respite on site at our facility. We're in the northeast of Calgary. So we have an on site respite program. We do holiday theme parties. So we had a winter or a holiday theme party. We had a Halloween party. We've got lots of doors in our facility. So lots of practices trick or treating for kids with very limited or low expectations. We have an Easter one too. It's a lot of fun. We're just looking at growing. So we have lofty goals. Like I said, we're hoping to have a school in the near future, open up a school, which would be cool, and just expand our program so that we can support that demand that's ever growing in Alberta.
And it's kind of lacking, especially in the school system, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we're able to collaborate with schools. So we work primarily with the government branch FSCD, and we work with their caseworkers and their funding model and that kind of stuff. That's been how we support them. And then we can collaborate with the schools. We've been fortunate with some schools of being able to support those teachers, give them some ideas, give them some strategies. And they've been really receptive to that, which is nice because yeah, it's just the demand out there is so high, and lots of families move to Alberta for the services that we have, which just puts a more strain on the system, unfortunately.
And then do you have programs for parents and then for siblings who are
Yeah, we do. We have counseling here as well.
Mhm.
So we have counseling with our psychologists here with behavioral supports, like what I do, like consultation. I'll do parent coaching. So sometimes with like behavioral stuff, if I work with the parents, teach them the strategies and the skills, it's a lot more effective than me going in one on one with a child. So we'll do some parent coaching. We do seminars, webinars. And then we just started this month, they're called SIB shops. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but we're running it at once a month where siblings with children with disabilities come in and they can do some activities and get some support and stuff like that, because it's difficult being a sibling of one of those kids, because that child who needs all the support is getting a lot of attention as well.
Mhm.
And I know parents do their best to support all their kids, but it's hard. There's only so
Mhm.
much to go around. So this gives them an opportunity to be the focal point of the attention, and they can express some of the challenges that they're having as well, but also have a good time and meet some friends and maybe make new ones.
Oh, that's amazing. I do have a friend whose brother is deaf, and I know growing up, she said that sometimes she loves her brother, don't get me wrong, and her parents did the best they could with what they
Mhm.
had, but sometimes she's like, I did feel kind of neglected and
Yeah. And it's never the
so
intention. In our home sessions, we make a point to try to include siblings in the sessions, because that's what real life is. The kids are going to play together. And if we can teach them how to play together, then everyone's having a great time. So we do encourage it as much as possible. It's a very family focused program. So anyone and everyone in that family can join our sessions. It's a lot easier to play a board game with 5 or 6 players than two, right?
yes.
So, yeah.
That's great. And then just talk about a little bit more about that community of with elevated abilities, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're relatively new. So I like to call us, we're in our toddler stage of our career or our existence. So we're starting to get out there a little bit more and make some connections and partnerships with other agencies and people with the similar mandate of supporting these kiddos and these families. We've gone to like teachers convention and been a vendor there. We have gone to the Calgary Baby and Tot show, and getting that community outreach is, now that we have the foundation, it's like
Mhm.
we have a lot more to offer. It's just putting it out there. So what supports do you need? Let's create opportunities for you guys, create opportunities to collaborate. We're just starting to dive into that.
That's great. But you started with the foundations of family and creating a little bit of community there. And I know you do movie nights as well.
Yes, we do have a movie night coming up. I think they're watching Inside Out too.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so we do a lot of those community. We try to do those community events because that's where the holiday theme parties are great. Our respite program will do outings too. So we'll go to the zoo or go to Telespark, and it's a great way for these kiddos to get out into the community with the support that they need. With our clinical services too, we do community outings. We try to practice going out and let's go to these community parks and playgrounds and different grocery stores so that these families aren't isolated, because it can be difficult. We just want to be as supportive as possible in every facet of a family's life.
And when you do these group programs, is it just for the kids that are involved or is it for the whole entire family as well?
Typically, it's just for the kids involved because, by definition, it's respite. So these families should be taking a well deserved break. So there's that. But like these holiday parties, the whole family is involved, is
Right.
invited. My 4 kids come here. They're running around like hooligans, playing in our office and doing some stuff. It's also nice because then some of the clients that I work with, their parents see my kids, and sometimes our kids will interact. So it's also creating that kind of connection of, these are some of the kids that I work with. When you say daddy's going to help these kids, that seems fun, but they don't notice the difference. They're just playing together, which is perfect. That's
Yeah.
the ideal. They go knock on doors together. Everyone likes to run around screaming in the office for some reason. That seems to be the top activity. Feel bad for our neighbors, but they manage.
And then is there a group parent support or at all or anything like that for the parent?
There are other programs. That's always been a bit of a pipe dream for us too, is having some support groups and stuff like that. We've done a few webinars and a few seminars to foster some of that community with the parents so that parents can physically come into the facility and be like, you're not alone, have a seat. Let's talk about a challenging topic, but then let's also create an opportunity that you guys can socialize and network so that you have your own support groups. That's something that we want to continue to build. The hardest part is helping them find the childcare to do that, but we have ideas and stuff like that, and just hopefully creating. That's why we've done a lot more webinars to give them that support. But we do have a few staff here who are really into that. We want to build that up and support those mums and dads. So a lot of the families that we work with kind of have that feeling of isolation. So we're trying to break down that barrier for them so they don't have to put this social initiative into finding these communities and these support groups. We can bring them to them and they just got to show up. They don't have to, that's their first step is we'll create a safe environment. We'll bring snacks. If we have the space, we'll take care of the children too. You just come here and socialize and sometimes just have some adult time and with like-minded parents who get what they're going through, right? Because everyone can say it's like, oh yeah, I understand. I understand. If you don't have a child with autism, you don't understand.
Yeah.
So
hard.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it because I think with the parents, especially, it can be isolating because you just don't know, are we kind of going through this by ourselves? And you have to put so much attention on, like you said, the one child and maybe not the other siblings as much. And then I think it's also just feeling that loneliness of, am I parenting as good as I can?
That's a big one. And honestly, I give them the strategies and supports, stuff like that. And then some of the families I've been working with is almost 3 years I've been with you. And it's time to transition out. No, no, I don't. I was like, you know what you're doing. Then the last few months of services is confidence building. It's like, you can do this. You know what you're doing. You're a highly skilled parent. It's like, no, no, what happens if this happens? What happens? Well, I would do this. And they say that with a smirk or something like that. And it's like, okay, it's not like I'm moving away. If something happens, call me. And I'll always pick up the phone. Confidence is always the big thing.
And I think even having those support groups, if you have a support group for something, we're transitioning it out, and these are the parents who are transitioning out of the program, that they still have people that they can contact.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I know there are Facebook groups, but we're trying to build upon bigger on that because get them out, get them talking. And that's a better way to create community than just social media because social media can be great. It can be distracting as well.
Yeah, I love it. Is there anything else you want to talk about with elevated abilities?
It's a pretty great place to work, to be honest. We've got some great staff and it's a lot of fun for your millions and millions of listeners out there.
You're being kind. I have like 5.
5 million? That's pretty good. Because we're a young agency, we're always looking for different programming ideas. And we're in the mindset of we don't know what we don't know. If there's a need that we're missing, fire us an email or connect with us because someone's got an idea for a support group. Let's run with it. Let's see how we can make it work. And that's the messaging we put out to our staff too. And we do have some staff who are trying to take advantage of that because we call them little passion projects. So support as many kids as we can or families as we can. So the SIB shops was the next one that we're looking at. Same with the preschool and the kindergarten. We're trying to get that up in the next year or two just to provide more supports. And then that'll open more doors and more doors and more doors. And it's just have that compounding effect of how can we be this huge agency that is supporting like hundreds and hundreds of families, maybe even across Alberta. So to your viewers out there, if there are ideas, hey, we're lacking, like even in Cochrane, I know there's some providers out there, but if there's a missing market, like a gap in the market, reach out and let's see if we can fill it, even if it's virtual to start and do that kind of stuff. Or if you're Kate traveling into the Northeast, then there are opportunities. We've seen some sports ideas too. When I was in Saskatoon, I ran a soccer program for kids with autism, which was really cool. I know Calgary Rugby Union has partnered with Autism Asperger's Friendship Society, and they do a rugby thing, which is really cool. I think they're going to do it again this summer. Yeah, I got to go down there and see the whole thing and promote that for our kiddos. Put my two worlds together. It's been fun.
Oh, that's great. And where can people find you for the elevated abilities?
Yeah, we're almost everywhere. Our website is elevatedabilities.ca. We've got lots of good stuff on there, including some free resources. You can find us on social media. We're on Instagram and we're on Facebook and we're on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is still out of my realm of understanding how to use it. We exist on it. Usually I'm just posting jobs on there. So if you're looking for a job, but that's all at Elevated Abilities. So yeah.
And I'll put all the links in the show notes so
Oh,
everyone can be able to find you and contact you and harass you if need be.
Yeah, yeah. I'm okay with some good harassment as long as it's positive.
So we'll switch gears a little bit now. So,
Sure.
I mean, we can talk about rugby or if there's
Yeah.
anything else surprising in
No,
your
let's
life that I don't
surprising.
know about any of the communities you want to talk about.
No, we can dive into rugby. What do you want to know?
I guess when did you first start? How'd you get involved? How'd you get involved with the Grizz? So many questions
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, so many. Okay. We'll do the whole thing over again with rugby. Growing up, I played soccer. So I'm Italian background, half Dutch, all soccer and all that stuff. 1 year in high school, didn't make the soccer team. So I was like, oh, what else am I going to do? We didn't have a football team. So I was like, I'll try this thing called rugby. So got dragged out to that by a couple friends of mine. And it was a lot of fun. It was confusing, but it was a lot of fun. I scored a try one season. I got to play a couple against a couple former soccer teammates, which was cool. Tackling is always fun. So that was in high school, long, long time ago. Moved out to Saskatoon. And when I worked at the agency Autism Services, my boss, he was a big rugby player. So we were talking like, I mean, for those who don't know me, I'm 6'3", pretty big dude. So I was like, so do you play football? I was like, no. I was like, have you ever played rugby? I was like, in high school when you're coming to practice. I was like, okay. So played there with the Saskatoon Crems for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Fell in love with the sport there. The community there is awesome. They have a really good rugby culture in Saskatoon. They have one clubhouse. So it's similar to the CRU, but it's a lot smaller. They have two fields there and they play under the lights. So night games or
Oh,
Saturday
fun.
night games, which is kind of cool. And then we just hang out at the clubhouse for the rest of the evening. You got kids running around, and it's a really good time. All the teams are fierce rivals on the field. And then once you step into that clubhouse, everyone's like good buddies and it's friendly competition. So that was a lot of fun. I got some good exposure to that. I got to play with Team Saskatchewan for a couple games, which was cool. When we moved out to Alberta, didn't really know what the landscape was like out here. We moved out here and we were living with some relatives in the Northwest, Calgary. So I started looking as I need a hobby. My wife's working away as a veterinarian. I'm trying to wait for my teaching license to come in. I came around like right when playoffs were. So I went to the CRU, watched some games, saw the Grizz play. I was like, oh, okay, there's a team in Cochrane and they're in the finals. That year they lost. So I was like, okay, well, that's not bad. And then seeing what else was there, I think I went to a couple Saracen practices and that was fun. And then we moved to Cochrane, and Cochrane has this Friday night touch. So I have played in that touch before. So there's,
What?
I
Really?
have played it. And that might have been before your time.
For
Um,
my time.
that must have been 2013 or 2014. Yeah, went there, and actually, it was a guy, I'm sure you know him, Scott McGraw
Okay.
and Carl Bauer. We were at training or that touch, and they're like, hey, do you play? And I was like, yeah, I play. And I was like, you got to play with us. What position do you play? I'm front row. Oh, yeah, we got the best front row in the province. And okay, sure, I should have picked a different position instead of just pigeonhole myself. But went to a couple trainings with them, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the team, the guys, and been playing ever since with the Grizz. After my first year, I got roped into being the vice president of men's, or actually it was adult back then. We lumped the women and the men together because there was only like four of you. I think my second year of that term is when we tried to start a women's team, right? You might have played on that team.
Yeah, I think I started the first team, so that would have been like 2016, I think.
Yeah, yeah, because that's when you guys were doing, you're more a tournament team. You guys did Stampede.
No, so I think that was the year before. There was a touch team, and I think
Oh,
there was a few girls, but I don't think there was a lot of girls.
you're right, because you had the Wonder Woman costume, the uniforms. Remember that?
Yeah, that was 2016.
Okay. Yeah, and then you guys played a season. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was
that's
our
when it was
season.
combined. And then when my term was up and I wasn't interested in renewing, I recommended that they separate that so there was a men's and a women's, so it was equally represented. Because usually the VP of adult was a senior men's player, and depending on who the VP was, I don't know if it would have been good for advocating for women's rugby or not. It was good. We had some good VP of women's as well come through.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I just played. And then when did I go back on the board was when you joined, right?
I think so.
Um, yeah, I did. I think I was 1 year as VP of men's, and then I did a half year, and then our president stepped down, so I stepped in like in the summer with interim, and then now I'm in my second year of my full term, so been there for president for 2.5 years. Starting to think if I want to do it again for another 2 years or not. I already have people in my ears like, "Are you going to do it again?" It's like, I don't know. It's like, you should. If you do it, I'll do it. I was like, oh, we're playing this game. Hey. I've had some great opportunities playing rugby as well. Like I've gotten a lot of cool opportunities and experience. I've played with the Calgary Mavericks program a few times, a few games there, which was great. We won the Prairie Super Cup 1 year, a couple years ago. So that was a lot of fun. Got to play with some Team Canada players. They're just on such a different level, but then they're just so much fun and easy to play with because they're just so helpful. There's not an ego there that like, oh, I play for Team Canada. And it's like, hey, let me help you out here. Hey, let's do this. And that was awesome. And so that was a lot of fun. I got the opportunity to play with the Wolfpack as well, which was cool. I got to go to a couple different places, like play in Kelowna, play in BC, and then we got to go play in Utah against the Utah Warriors. We got destroyed, but it was still cool to play on. I think it was YouTube. I don't know if they played on TV, but my kids got to watch me on YouTube live. So it was kind of surreal to like play in a full stadium and stuff like that. So got some good opportunities. And now I'll be 40 this year. So I've been playing with Maverick Classics, which is a lot of fun. So kudos to Vinny who organizes it. He does a great job. Had some good experience there. And I still playing with the Grizz somehow. I'm getting to 100 games. That's my goal. So I don't know. Our coach Ty Haas, he keeps seeming to give me the same number every season of how many games till 100. So last season it was 12, and then at the end of the season, like, hey, so how many more games? Oh, I counted wrong. It's still 12. I think you're just lying, so I keep playing. So it's a good trick because it's working. I'm really enjoying it. We got two men's team this year. We have a women's team that's growing, and we got a juniors team and a minis team that is growing as well. I think last year we had about 250 players, which was pretty awesome. This year, I don't see why we can't get a few more. I bet you in another year or two, we'll probably break 300. We got lots of young families. We're affordable. That's our thing, is we're affordable, and rugby culture is unmatched, I would say.
Yeah. What do you find the differences between the rugby culture versus your soccer clubs?
My soccer clubs, there's definitely a lot more of a social aspect. I mean, I quit soccer because of all of the flopping and the faking and all that stuff. Being a big guy, people run into me and fall down. That's not my fault. I'm just slow. I can't get out of the way. I found the camaraderie is bigger than the soccer teams I played with, at least. I'm sure there are clubs. I play with the over 35s Friday night soccer with the Rangers right now, and it's a great group of guys that we play with. But the rugby culture, we just went on tour to Cowichan with the rugby team, and that's so much fun. You have guys who are like 20, 21, 19, I think was the youngest guy. And there's guys like me and couple other ones that are 40s, and I think we had a 50-year-old. You don't see that anywhere else. And then you see the clubs that we go to, and they have the same kind of thing in the clubhouse. Guys are just hanging out, having a good time, sharing stories. So it's experience. And the big thing is the sport is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're fast, you're slow, you're tall, you're short, you're skinny, you're fat, whatever. There's a spot on that field where you will be utilized and feel like an important, integral part of the team. There's not a lot of sports that do that. Soccer, you just have to be fit, fast, kick with both feet, don't hurt anyone. And rugby's only 80 minutes too. It's 10 minutes shorter, so it's even better. Like the amount of practices that we've had together with like the men's and the women's. I know your injury was unfortunate, and I was part of it. So like the amount of women's players in the Grizz that come out and we have joint practices. Where else can you do that? And it's just so much fun to just have that camaraderie. And I've said that already, but even between the two teams, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the Grizz have done a really good job of collaborating with the women and the men. There's other teams, even in Calgary, that they try, But I feel like even with the practices, the men are practicing over there, the women are practicing over here, and then we don't even say hi to them.
Yeah.
It's really been nice to be able to practice with the guys. And I've always been fortunate that even when I started in 2016, that the guys were very welcoming. And I see all of you as my brothers because they were growing up. Guys like
Yeah.
Brennan and Austin, they were like 16, 17, maybe 18 at the time. And they're showing me like, Crid, do this. They're watching their goose stuff. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm 36. I could be your mom.
You can do it because I taught them how to do that because I coached them in high school. So they learned it from me. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Oh, no. Have you seen me?
Maybe in 2016.
I hurt myself just getting down, getting lifted.
Yeah.
It's been cool to have that opportunity, even being mentored by even some of the younger players who've been playing, and they're so good, such good players, and it's been amazing. And the
Yeah.
men have always been very welcoming. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. No, honestly, I don't even think it's you guys joining us. I think we just practice together. And it's just kind of been a culture that we have. It's just that inclusivity. And with both the men's and the women's team, the skill level is so vast. You have your beginners who have never seen a rugby ball, and then you have your players who can play elite in both the men's and the women's. And I think that's why it's so easy to have combined practices, is because we're just separating by skill level and teaching skill level, not all the girls go over here, all the boys go over here. Someone like Meg, we do scrummaging practice and I scrummage against her. And we're working on technique and we're working on form and stuff like that. I have 100 pounds on her, but we're working on our technique together. Right? And same with lineouts. Like, how many lineouts have you been thrown up into the air and stuff like that? These are skills that it doesn't matter. And I think that's been a nice thing of what we've done. And to be honest, you throw the numbers together, it's nice having numbers. We can play a touch game at the end, 15 on 15, rather than 5 on 5 and then another 5 on 5 somewhere else. Why aren't we combining these? It's just rugby, right? It's not a complicated sport.
Yeah, and I love the culture that we have too. We can all go out and party together, and having been part of other clubs, this one is one of the better ones.
Yeah. There's a lot of good social aspect to it. And I mean, I would even say that social aspect goes through the whole club. If you look at going out some nights to the different sponsor bars that we have, you got junior parents there, you got mini parents there. It's just people knowing each other. We got enough Grizz senior men, senior women that have kids in the junior program now. So there's even more connection. And it is a proper community now because everyone's got like vested interests in the different programs. And the amount of junior dads that would come out after our games, I think we've converted some of them to come play this year. It's like, you should come play. It's like, oh, I don't know, I'm in my 40s. It's like, yeah, but so are these guys. Oh, okay, then you're drinking with us already. Let's go, let's earn the beer rather than just pay for the beer. And I think that's been really good to see the whole club atmosphere. We had that club day last year and we had some crappy weather, but the numbers out there were pretty great. And fingers crossed we have good weather for club day this year and get the entire town of Cochrane out down to Midford.
I really liked how you guys incorporated Club Day last year with getting the minis involved and then getting some of the juniors. And I know for some of the games, not everyone could play at Mitford because we only have one field. And so that's a little bit harder to get all the teams to play. But saying that, I really did like the fact that the minis would come in and do a little thing, almost be like the halftime show.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, guys, get off the field. And then we've got the men's, and then we had the ladies and some of the juniors in between. So I really thought that was great.
Yeah, and that's honestly our plan this year. I'm trying to figure out logistically if we can get every team on that field. Maybe we just extend the day because we had that other secondary field, which is okay, but can we get all of our teams so that it's one location and we just have everybody mixed in together? Because it was such a big plus having all the teams there. And it was so much fun. It was such a good demonstration of our community. Okay, it's halftime of a game. Every single parent of that kid who was playing in the minis grabbed the 3 pylons so that we made a makeshift field in the middle. And then they did their thing. You got like players cheering. If it was before the men's game, we created a tunnel after. And I remember the U7s. I'm not going through. I think my daughter, Greta, I was like, is she going to go through the tunnel? This tunnel of big, scary men? But then they realize they're getting high fives. There's your motivator. But then you got like 20 parents cleaning up the field so that the next game could go on and all that stuff. And that was good. Last year, I really saw a huge increase in the rugby community, even with the awards banquet that we had at the end of the year. This was the first year that I've been part of it where there was a committee that were not board members. I had a lot of help running that. I was a facilitator. I wasn't getting stuff. I wasn't doing it. I was helping with logistics. And we had a lot of great help with that. And that was probably our best awards banquet yet, to the fact that we need a bigger venue. We ran out of space and we had to end up splitting it, which is a great problem to have. And having that much help, we've got some pretty fantastic people in our club. Yeah.
We do. And it's so amazing just to even watch the minis play because they all share the field. So you have the U5s on one corner,
U5s, yeah.
U7s on the other, U9s, and then 11s and 13s.
Yeah, we got the 5, 7, 9, and 11s playing together in 4 corners. And it's funny because this year I'll have a child in each one. I'll have to laugh around. But last year I had 3 of my 4 were in it. Little Lucy was still running around. But it was just fun to watch, like watching the U5s, and bless those coaches' hearts, it's herding cats and like running around with pool noodles and stuff like that. And then you go to the U7s and like they're playing a little bit more. You got the odd dandelion picker. You got the odd person who's just running around. And when I started with the club, I coach U7, so I get it. It's a little bit crazy. And then U9's a little bit more skilled and they're starting to get more focused. And then U11's, they're learning how to tackle and it's a serious thing. So it's cool just to see the jumps. And then you got the U13s, U15s after and look at the progression. But then it's also nice for those kids to see where they can go. My son, Sammy, who'll be U11 this year, he wanted, like last year, he's like, I want to play real rugby. I was like, what do you mean? You are playing real rugby? No, I don't get to tackle anyone. I just have to grab a flag. He's like, okay, well, that's next year. Next year, you get to learn how to tackle. So he gets to play real rugby this year. And it's so cool just to see the differences and the coaches of the U11s getting them to tackle bags and the big cylinders. And then everyone needs to. The amount of times where I've brought my kids out and take out one of those big green cylinders, I was like, go for it. Run it over. I was like, you'd think they just run and tackle it, but no, they always come up and just punch it. Not a punching bag. It's just so cool. And like then you see all the parents around, and it's just the amount of parents that stick around for the training and stuff like that. It just shows how much they enjoy it. So it keeps coming back to that I would say that buzzword of this is the community. It's just like they want to be part of it. It's not just a drop off your kid and come pick them up in an hour. Socializing too and meeting new people and trying to avoid the temptation of playing senior.
Even though I'm sure half the coaches go around and say, come play with us.
I'm pretty sure I do. I was like, I saw you did a little jog to go get that ball. Have you ever played rugby before?
Come hang out with some fun people.
You have an accent that's not Canadian. You must know what rugby is. Right.
Even if you have the Canadian accent, doesn't matter. Just come play.
Yeah. But if you have like a British accent, an Irish accent, or something like that, or even like Southern Hemisphere, you guys definitely know what rugby is.
Yeah.
Like, why are you not playing?
Why aren't you playing? We need you. So for any parents out there watching,
watch out. You better either
watch out.
You're
always recruiting.
Better learn, get some. Yeah. And hey, that goes into with if you need some speech therapy because you want to hide your accent, you can come see Elevated Abilities. Or you play. Those are your options. For me, it's win-win. Right?
You can have a little bit of speech therapy.
I'm going to get you to join one of my communities. So they have some choice.
I love that, Tony. It's great.
There you go. I'm diversifying.
Oh man. Well, is there any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I'd say I'm happy to see that you're doing this. I think this is very well suited for you. When I heard you're doing a podcast, I'm surprised it took you that long, right? Because like the type of person you are, just being a social person and wanting to like I mean, your business name is Connecting with Corinne. And that's exactly what you do. That's you in a nutshell of just you go and connect. I don't think I've ever gone to whether it's a practice, a game, a social thing, and you're not talking to someone that I've never seen before. And it's, oh yeah, I know this person, or oh, I just met this person. And I'm happy to see you doing this. And I really hope it explodes and goes viral. And you're like as big as some of those big ones. I was
Tony?
like, you can compete with someone like, I don't know, what are the big ones now? I know Joe Rogan's pretty big, so maybe you can compete with him at some. You could be the Canadian Joe Rogan. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but he's got a big podcast, so that's all I'm going with. I think it's awesome. I really do. I mean, my wife and I have talked about doing a podcast because it's such a cool concept. And I know you've shared ideas of this is how you do it. It's not that hard, but maybe it's not hard setting up, but you're still putting yourself out there. That's big, right? So that's something that I don't know if we could do. I don't know if we'd have as good as topics as you do too.
You
So
and Brentley, you have 4 kids.
yeah, we probably talk
You could
about
talk
like,
about all the parenting things and
yeah,
you could help families, especially with bigger families and how to juggle life with your little rugby team. You almost have a rugby sevens team.
I know. As long as we do co-ed, I got don't tell Bradley, but it's only three more, but it's like I'm okay. Oh yeah, you have a full team. It's like, no, we don't, but we also don't need a full team.
One shy of seven.
Yeah, I guess if you count Bretley and I, well, we have a dog. Maybe we'll just be like very inclusive rugby.
Yeah,
And
very inclusive rugby. Put the dog in. But you've seen Poppy. Poppy's a good little rugby player.
there you go. Yeah. Yeah. She's got the petting zoo back home in Manitoba. Like maybe she can bring out some of those.
The goats and the llamas.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So maybe it'd be more of a comedy podcast of just all the nonsense that we have in our life.
Love it though. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
But yeah,
you.
yeah, I'm happy to see you doing this. So
Thank you. Well, I'm so blessed to have you in my life too, because you've just been an amazing support and the way you're creating the community and changing the culture with the Grizz as well. We do have an amazing culture and it's been growing and has been so amazing. I know at one point it wasn't as good as it is now. So I just love the fact
yeah,
that having people like you on the board and having seen like where we started from, and especially even before I started, and now growing this into something, and we've had our growing pains, but
mhm.
to say what can we learn from that and then build from that,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I
You're nothing without a good culture.
no.
It doesn't matter if you're the best winning percentage team in the world. Eventually, that's going to come crashing down. You need to have that culture, and I think that's a big thing for our rugby club. That's a big thing with Elevated that we're doing is that's the retention thing. If you don't have a good culture, you don't have the retention, whether it's a sports organization or a business organization. Like our staff here in the disability sector is a very underpaid, you would know, working with kids with autism and stuff like that. You're not going to be a millionaire working with kids with disabilities. So you got to do it for the passion, but then also the culture for it, it makes up for it too. We have our own little support system here and community. There's a lot of dark humor here because that's how you get through some of the harder weeks. We can all share stories of how we've gone through some different biological fluids and stuff like that. But we can all laugh at it at the end of the day. And that's important. That culture in the community, I feel like it makes or breaks you.
Mhm. That's amazing. And especially with children with disabilities, it can be so hard. And
Mhm.
it's hard on the families, but it also is hard on the workers. And I think people forget about how taxing it can be mentally and emotionally and physically, even
Yeah.
on you guys too. So, like you said, you have to have passion for it and you have to have the heart and a very thick skin at times. And
Yes. Yeah.
and like you said, dark humor, because there's a lot of times where you're just like, oh, I don't even know.
No, because if you can't laugh at it, then you're gonna go down you're gonna spiral and really doubt yourself. So you just gotta laugh at some of there are plenty of times I've gone into a session and had a horrible session and I've been spit in the face. I've had fecal matter thrown at me, all that kind of stuff. And I can laugh about it now because nothing bad happened. It's like you relate. It's just all part of the job. You can laugh at it. It's funny now. It's not funny in the moment, but
It's not funny. You're just like, oh my God, like
yeah.
I have to shower and this is not fun.
No, it was not fun. But then you also put yourself in the perspective of the parents. Wow, you have to go through this all day, every day.
Yeah.
I'm here for 2 hours.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I felt when I worked with some of these kids with autism, is that they were in a group home, and I felt so bad for the parents when they would come and visit, because
Yeah.
these kids were like, most of them nonverbal, huge behavior issues, and some of them would be like, their love language would be pulling your hair.
Yeah.
So they're not saying I love you in quote unquote normal channels. It's more of, I love you, I'm gonna pull your hair.
Yeah. But that's my favorite thing to work on is they're trying to communicate something. I need to figure out what they're trying to communicate and then give them a better way to do it so they can get those connections. I call them like functions of behavior. It minimizes it a little bit, but it's attention seeking. Like they need the attention. So we got to give them good ways to get good attention because they've learned this is the way to get attention. It's been effective, and let's teach them high fives, fist bumps. So
All right. Well, thank you, Tony. This was amazing. So again, where can people find you at Elevated Abilities? Say the website.
elevatedabilities.ca. And then on socials, we have at Elevated Abilities. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and underperforming on LinkedIn.
That's all good. I'll put all the links there, and then I will also put the links for how can we find the Grizz?
The Grizz. Our website is not the greatest, so we are looking at overhauling that. But right now, I think it's bowvalleygrizz.com. But then find our social media page, and that's Bow Valley Rugby Club on Facebook and Instagram. We have an awesome social media person right now. Krabs is her pseudo name. She's fantastic at doing social media, so it's grown quite a bit. So follow those pages for updated stuff.
Yeah, she's doing an amazing and incredible job. I know you started it and created the templates and everything, and you were doing a good job. But
yeah, I made the Instagram page, but I'm really glad she's taken over because everything I do is function over fashion. I don't have a good fashion sense. I'm colorblind, which also doesn't help. I'm more than happy to create things and then let people make them look pretty.
Yeah, the board's amazing this year. You've got some really good people. Are there any positions open for the board?
There are. I was gonna slide that in there. If you're looking, Corinne, or wanting to share, we are looking for. We have a couple open positions called members at large, just because there's a lot of things to do. One specifically is to support the junior VP. So, Angie, she's amazing too. Like you said, we have so many great board members this year, but our junior program is huge. And for one person to oversee it all is a lot. She does need that support, even with just logistics and stuff like that. So we do have that position available. Sponsorship is almost over, but we do have a sponsorship VP position available. And then if you just want to get involved with the club, every team needs a team manager who's just kind of supporting. We use TeamSnap, help with communications, that kind of stuff. Like even if you just want to get involved without a lot of responsibilities, just being a team manager is helpful enough. That would take a load off of, I know, Angie's shoulders quite a bit. So any way you want to get involved, you can reach out to us on those socials, or you can even email me directly. I got president@bowvalleyrugby.com. We're always looking for new members, even if they're just social members.
Okay, great. Well, like I said, I'll put all the links in the show notes, and everyone can get a hold of you either through Rugby or Elevated Abilities. Thank you, Tony, so much for talking with me today. It's always so good to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Corinne. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, have a good one, and we'll say goodbye to everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good day and stay connected.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope today's conversation sparked something new and reminded you of the power of connection. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with others, and continue spreading the message of unity across all walks of life. Until next time, stay connected.